The notion that scientists and mainstream media are deceiving the public about climate change has become a pervasive conspiracy theory in recent years. Proponents of this idea claim that there is a deliberate attempt to manipulate and distort the facts surrounding global warming for various motives, including financial gain, political power, and social control. However, a closer examination of the evidence and the complexities of climate science reveals that this narrative is largely unfounded and misinformed. One of the primary reasons for the perceived dishonesty is the inherent complexity and nuance of climate science. The Earth's climate system is a multifaceted and dynamic entity influenced by a plethora of factors including atmospheric chemistry, ocean currents, and geological processes. As a result, climate scientists must rely on sophisticated models and statistical analyses to understand and predict climate trends. These models, while incredibly powerful tools, are not infallible and are subject to uncertainties and limitations. The media, in its quest for simplicity and sensationalism, often oversimplifies or misrepresents the findings of climate research, creating the impression that scientists are deliberately manipulating the data. Another factor contributing to the perception of deception is the politicization of climate change. The issue has become a highly polarized and partisan topic, with various interest groups and politicians attempting to shape the narrative to suit their agendas. The fossil fuel industry, in particular, has been accused of funding disinformation campaigns and lobbying efforts to downplay the significance of climate change and obstruct efforts to transition to renewable energy sources. While it's true that some scientists and media outlets may have biases or conflicts of interest, the overwhelming consensus among climate experts is that human-induced global warming is real, and it poses a significant threat to the environment, human health, and the economy. Moreover, the scientific community is not a monolithic entity, and there are indeed debates and disagreements among climate researchers regarding the specifics of climate change, such as the rate of warming, the extent of sea level rise, and the effectiveness of various mitigation strategies. However, these debates are a natural and essential part of the scientific process, as they facilitate the refinement of theories, the identification of knowledge gaps, and the development of more accurate models. The media, however, often misrepresents these debates as evidence of a conspiracy or a lack of consensus among scientists, rather than acknowledging the inherent complexities and uncertainties of climate research. Furthermore, the notion that scientists are lying about climate change for financial gain is a baseless and cynical accusation. Climate researchers are predominantly motivated by a desire to understand and mitigate the impacts of global warming, rather than to accumulate wealth or fame. In fact, many climate scientists have faced intimidation, harassment, and even death threats for their work, demonstrating that their dedication to the field is driven by a sense of duty and concern for the well-being of humanity, rather than personal gain. In conclusion, the claim that scientists and mainstream media are lying to us about climate change is a misguided and misleading narrative. While there are certainly complexities, nuances, and uncertainties surrounding climate science, the overwhelming evidence supports the reality of human-induced global warming and its far-reaching consequences. The media's tendency to oversimplify or misrepresent climate research, combined with the politicization of the issue and the influence of special interest groups, has contributed to the perception of deception. However, it is essential to recognize that the scientific community is committed to understanding and addressing climate change, and their findings should be taken seriously, rather than being dismissed as part of a grand conspiracy. By promoting a more informed and nuanced understanding of climate science, we can work towards a more sustainable and equitable future for all.